We're joined this fine Tuesday by Professor Kevin Curran with our weekly tech slot. Kevin, blessed relief. We're going to look at a piece in The Guardian, and I'm delighting in, and I don't think well, you need to tell me why we need to believe it. Research, they say 70% of 16 to 21-year-olds feel worse about themselves after spending time on social media. Okay. Half would support a digital curfew that would restrict their access to certain apps and sites after 10 o'clock. Is that the world your teenage kids live in, or your young fellas live in? Do you believe that kids want rid of it as much as maybe the rest of us?
It's interesting because we generally think of social media as a tool for connection. And it is, of course, it can be. But here it seems like it's a source for anxiety and insecurity and self-doubt. Again, it's only one study by the British Standards Institution. But again, it shows a trend here, and there is a trend, I was listening to another story in the BBC yesterday where these pupils were speaking very freely about actually being relieved of not having smartphones. There's a move to ban them.
Do you believe that?
I do, to some degree.
I've been relieved of my smartphone for the last 2 days, not by my choice, because I mucked up on a password and I broke a phone. And I haven't had my sounds at night. I haven't gone to bed listening to Radio 4. I haven't done any of that. It's not much crack, Kevin. And, I'm a sinner because I get the point of this, but I want my phone,
It is again, but again, it's a different world when you're a teenager, and social media, Snapchat, and excuse me, the feeling of losing out when you're seeing your peers at parties, and so there's things that we don't have interactions. Of course, we just have really the time wasting. Really, it'd be unusual for someone to be online bullying us at our age, but. Again, that there is this thing about social media again that, that obviously and their brain still hasn't kicked in fully, that everyone is putting their best foot forward. When my life is in disaster, when things go wrong for me, you don't see a post. And of course, you don't see a post from me in either way. But again, that they're competing against the best of everyone else with their filters and, again, their wonderful holidays and, thinking that, look at their life and why is my life so second-rate compared to theirs?
But real life's tougher, isn't it? Real life's tougher than that sort of glam stuff. I think about this every time I see an ad now. I try to turn the sound down, like somebody in 1941, because I don't want to know about your toothpaste or your shampoo or how fabulous you look. I don't know, Kevin, maybe we're first generation still in all this stuff, aren't we? You're the first generation professor of what you do. Maybe we'll have this sorted in 100 years, I don't know, and live real connected lives.
We do try to adapt. There's moves to try to put digital curfews on, actually, but that's quite hard to implement, really, because anyone can say whatever age they are, and does a digital curfew apply then, and then you can turn on this VPN software which makes you appear in Australia when it's morning, and so it's very hard to implement something like that again. But it seems that more younger people than we previously thought seem to be anxious and insecure.
Do you think, in a word, we'll sort it? I call them the digital playboys. They own our lives. They own every platform, our purchases, our social media, the digital playboys. It's first generation for them as well. It's playground for them. Do you think we'll sort it, Kevin?
I don't think, no. Digital is embedding into every aspect of our life, really. Again, the high streets will never be as full as they are now. Everything is moving online, all applications. Again, it's especially, again, the older people I really feel sorry for. I was reading a story yesterday about a son posting about his 80-year-old father who now has to use a smart app to collect his this veteran pension he's getting and everything else, and navigate it and turn on two-factor authentication and verify this and that. And of course, at least he has a son who's able to help him. But imagine you don't have family.
Well, I wish I had a son, because I've been disenfranchised this last 2 days. Honestly, I don't know what to do. Anyway, Kevin, keeping it practical again, the driving licence, UK driving licence. So big change there, potentially what?
There is Gov UK wallet being issued by the government as part of a cost-saving exercise again, that this summer we'll be able to have our driving licence on our phone. And again, within the app, and again, to be able to show that rather than having to have the physical driving license, that it should be acceptable now to show that as proof of age. And also, I guess, if you're overseas, that's the one thing I would welcome it for, that when I go overseas, because I have a chance to, I'd like to rent motorbikes, actually.
Right.
I used to be a biker. And again, I don't have to carry my my driving license with me. You know,
But everything's on phone wallets now for a lot of people. I like having my driving license. I like having it in my hand, though.
It is, yeah, and it doesn't mean that we're still not going to have the paper copies as well. But again, it just gives you an option that you can actually have it. And of course, if you're caught speeding on the A2 or whatever else, you don't have to. You can't. You could say you never downloaded the app, but you could produce your license on the app again. That.
Have you been caught speeding on the A2, Kevin? It's a guilty charm has just exuded from the far side of the studio. Have you been? No, you don't have to answer that, Professor Curran of the Ulster University at McGee. Kevin, our time is gone. And a word, by the way, of 20 seconds, Kevin. Should we accept or reject all cookies? I'm a rejecter.
You can reject them all, but sometimes there's a purpose for them, that it makes your life easier when you return to the site. So it's not. But the one that
You're back. You rejected us last time. Go to the back of the queue.
Reject the advertising cookies when you can, because then that's just about Google following you around the web. But there is functional cookies which are useful.
Kevin, thank you. Professor Kevin Curran from the Ulster University at McGee. Folks, back in 10 minutes talking about the Derry Donegal flight potential return and the bees up on Crana. It's 1 o'clock.
On BBC Sounds, your radio, TV and smart speaker, this is The Northwest at 1 on BBC Radio Foyle.